Ah, good morning, folks. All you fine, wonderful people that are out there. Welcome to the March live chat of Coffee Talk with Nate. I'm getting my own in me because it's just one of those mornings, but that's not going to stop me. Before I get into any kind of like actual discussion, I need to just kind of quickly go over some updates and as well as just general, I guess, like housekeeping. So 1 second. So good. All right. So first thing that I want to talk about is two different GoFundMe campaigns that are happening right now. A friend of ours, Sean Malone, his GoFundMe is still active. He is still with his family. They're still fundraising to get him back to Mexico for further cancer treatment. Like I've said before in a few other different videos here and there, he came back from Mexico in a great state, far better than he had been in a long time, and looking to get him back there so that we can hopefully get rid of or eliminate the cancer that's still residing within him. Now, it's an ongoing campaign, but if you haven't already donated, you can go to GoFundMe.com/LalonFamily, and you'll find everything there, or just help spread the word. Which also brings me to another GoFundMe campaign that is actually it's very recent, and it pains me a little to even have to mention that this would be happening, but this is to me a very important campaign as well. Very recently, the Okanagan community lost a wonderful individual by the name of Tessa Hutton, and she leaves behind her daughter Isla Faye. So family and friends, I believe, have started a GoFundMe fundraiser for getting the money together to cover costs of proceeding through the passing of Tessa, and it's difficult for a lot of people to kind of talk about or to kind of process, and we just all need to do what we can to just help each other through moments of grief and through pain and through loss. But even if you didn't know Tessa, if you could, I actually printed off so that you know exactly which one you want to look for. This is the Remembering Tessa. This is the GoFundMe account that you want to look for. That's a photo of Tessa, and that's a photo of Isla Faye. And again, every donation helps. And if you're not able to financially donate, then to just go on to GoFundMe and find it and then share it amongst your friends. That would be amazing. So with that out of the way, want to pick it up and kind of bring forth some good news. I finally got the chance to announce that I have joined the Speaker Bureau Voices for Equity. It's I'm super excited about this because we've been going back and forth trying to make this happen, and my friend Kevin was able to kind of help bring me in, so I'm very grateful to him. But I am now, as a speaker, in a bureau that's alongside the likes of Julie Lalone, Kevin Vowles, Glenn Canning, Miriam and Naval Raymond, Angeline Jackson, so many others. If none of these names ring any bells, Google them, or even better, just go to the Voices for Equity website, and then you can get the full bios on each and every one of these wonderful individuals. I'm so proud to be a part of this, and I'm so happy, and I'm like super stoked that that I get to further my career as a youth speaker with these fine, wonderful individuals. With that out of the way, we've got our housekeeping, general updates. Let's get into the real reason why I'm doing this live chat. So I think it was back in either January or would have been February. I put out a survey just looking for people's input into some of the topics that they wanted to hear about. They wanted either for myself or for a guest speaker to come in and talk. And I gotta say that today's topic was not the top winner, but that's okay, because effective stress management was what everybody seemed to be looking for. And I'm putting that off for just 1 month so that I can get some really solid material to present to everybody who would be watching. And yeah, so in the interim for March, I was like, well, you know what? There was still some interest in trying to figure out why I promote Hurt, Heal, Repeat, why I am, doing what I'm doing. And I get it. Some people, they hear it and they're just like, what the heck is he talking about? Well, today I'm going to give you just a short breakdown. I'm not going to do the full presentation, but I'm going to give a breakdown as to, the story behind it, why I talk about Hurt, Heal, Repeat, why I promote it the way that I do, and yeah, that's why we're here. So, let's get into it. Now, what does it even mean? As a promotional tool, I came up with the idea of Hurt, Heal, Repeat back in, I think it was 2016. So I just started. I was like, you know what? This is actually it's a bit of a mindset, but without really digging too deep as to who may have also been using it as a term. I later on, after starting my campaign and promoting it for my youth speaker work, discovered that online it carries two different meanings to two completely different groups. So the first being Hurt, Heal, Repeat, being associated with a community of self-harm. So people that would go online and post pictures of either current cuts or previous scars, and the hashtag was Hurt, Heal, Repeat. That's not why I chose that message. The other one is the workout, the exercise community have kind of latched onto it, and you'll come across some photos of people like they're just like pumping iron, they're like just swole, they're in beast mode, and they've used the moniker, or the hashtag I should say, of Hurt, Heal, Repeat as essentially a no pain, no gain kind of attitude, which again is not why I chose it. Why I chose it had a completely different reason, and that is thinking back to how I was like growing up, and even through my 20s and into my 30s, because yeah, that all happened. I started to come across something that was called PMA, and a positive mental attitude. And as a very, very kind of quick history lesson here, PMA was, to the best of my knowledge, first coined by an author by the name of Napoleon Hill, and he mentions it in his Think and Grow Rich book, which he published back in like 1937. So this guy was like way ahead of his time. He was talking about, basically think it and achieve it, when there weren't many individuals that were really kind of putting that into practice, or at the very least they weren't talking about it or putting it to print. Now, I didn't hear it through that book. I heard it through the likes of Washington's own pioneer of hardcore, Bad Brains, and as well as New York's own H2O. Through the 90s, when my friends were getting into punk and I was getting into metal and hardcore, I started realizing that there were these bands that were just talking about PMA, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And digging a little deeper, I realized that, so PMA stands for a positive mental attitude. And that doesn't mean that you're continually 24/7 an optimist, but it just means that you're always looking for the good in people, the good in yourself. You're not letting any kind of like negativity that creeps into your life to take over your life. Nothing is impossible. Like, really, it just comes down to, looking at the world through, okay, so maybe I screwed up, but it's not the end of the world. You learn from it and you move on, and you just do everything you can to be, as happy and positive as possible, and just be good to yourself, and be good to those around you. So I learned about it through through music, specifically through loud, angry hardcore, which most people don't really kind of put two and two together, but it's been a long-standing message through like that entire scene since the 80s. And it still continues to this day. There are bands that are still promoting it. There are bands that are still writing about it. I mean, H2O still tours. Bad Brain still tour. You know, if you ever get the chance to see either one of those groups live, amazing. Yeah, so like for me, for Heard, Heal, Repeat, I take a big chunk of what PMA stands for and put it into my own practice. Oh man. Sweet nectar of the gods, caffeine. Okay, so the hurt aspect. I can't really move forward without talking about that first. No matter what happens in your life, you're going to experience some sort of pain. You're going to experience some sort of embarrassment, some sort of, maybe it's like negative self-talk, maybe it's some emotional pain or physical pain, you know, break an arm, twist an ankle, or people just talking down to you. Maybe you got like a boss that's just breathing down your neck all the time. Whatever it is, that negativity can really start to wear you down and break you down. And we all experience some pain or some kind of hurt in our lives, some more than others, but inevitably, because we're human and life is just life, it's gonna happen. And there's nothing that we really can do to get around that. When I'm talking about hurt, and specifically about things that happened in my own life, I was severely bullied as a kid, through latency, pre-adolescent, through my teen years, severely bullied. There was name calling, there was physical assault, there was let me think, rumors that were spread about me and my family. I was basically called every derogatory term you could think of against like the gay community. I had literally rocks and trash thrown at me at one point, simply for the fact that I just existed in this one town and people my age, my peer group, just didn't like me. I can't necessarily wrap my head around the reasoning behind that, but I can tell you, yeah, it did happen, and it did really suck, and it was something that was really difficult to like navigate through, and trying to figure out like what to do with all that pent up frustration and anger that I had on my own, and that hurt, that pain, it really started to eat away at me, and like to the point where I was getting physically ill. I ended up in high school. I was I had like what were they, ulcers, and doctors are trying to figure out like what was going on. Different x-rays and tests, and nobody could really kind of put their finger on it, but they were just like, whatever is triggering you, it's stress related, so what's going on in your life, etc., etc., etc. So for me, the hurt that I was experiencing was not only physical, but it was also very emotional, and it was something that I just, at the time, like I said, I could not wrap my head around it. And it was really, really difficult for me to try and navigate through like just the emotions on my own. And I ended up, I did have some supports through friends, through family. I attended a few different like youth groups that were associated with different churches. So they helped a little bit, but there were definitely moments where the people who were bullying me at school were also bullying me at these youth groups and at these community events, and it just felt like it gets to a point where you just kind of feel like you can't escape it. So for me, I ended up really kind of internalizing a lot. I ended up kind of letting it eat away at me to the point where everything was just bottled up, and I just came to a moment where I snapped, and I don't mean like I got angry. I mean like I snapped. I snapped hard. A lot of people don't believe this when I have to tell them, but the truth is I've gone through counseling and anger management like 3 times in my life, all before the age of 18, and that's always a trip. But that helped find some sort of way to kind of navigate some of the like to find some therapeutic milieus. But I mean, really, it's still, especially as a teen, you're waking up and the first thing you're thinking about is like, you know, this is what I'm gonna have to go through. This is what I can expect hopping on the bus. This is what I can expect sitting in class. My God, this is just gonna suck so much. Just so much pain, so much hurt. So that's my example of feeling hurt. That's my example of feeling pain. For you, it could be anything. Whatever you've experienced or whatever you're currently experiencing in the moment. When I'm talking about hurt, that's what I'm talking about. We're crossing the boundaries of just not just the physical, but also emotional. And then recognizing all those negative things that could be happening in your life. I see some people that are putting up like sad emojis. I'm good. Don't worry. I've lived it. It is what it is. It's in the past. You know, I've gotten through it. It's all good. Which is what leads to kind of the next section. When you're hurt, you do, for me, subsequently, I ended up doing some really, 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 really stupid things. Not as stupid as some of my friends, but on their own, and albeit still incredibly dumb. And some of those things that I did that were really stupid had some rather large consequences, and I had to do something to learn from that. Now, I, for me, knew that I had to find some way to kind of move past it and work through it, but I was still trying to figure that out. That would actually happen. My healing process would begin when I was 16, and I decided that I was going to start a band. We did, for me, music, just kind of like, it always spoke to me. It always kind of helped me through some of the rougher moments. If I'm like in a really, really bad mood, I could be driving or just in my office or whatever, I'll just put on music, and usually it just kind of sets me straight. And I love that. I love that it's with the click of a button, you know, I can have this music, this just beautiful noise surrounding me and just kind of helping me through whatever I'm trying to deal with. But as a teenager, I got a taste of performing, and I friggin' loved it. It was amazing. It was just absolutely outstanding. For every scar that we would get, for every bone that we may break, for every harsh word that we might have to endure hearing, we have to understand that there is going to be a moment where healing will begin. That can be a hard pill to swallow because we do live in a like I want it now kind of atmosphere. It's been like that for a while, and it could take days, it could take weeks, months, years, but no matter what the timeline is like, at some point we do find closure. We do find that opportunity to actually truly heal ourselves and move past what's been holding us back and just start living the best life that we can. And for me, like I said, that was through music. So 16, I got to perform. It was at a talent show. Me and some of my buddies, we just went up on stage, and I gotta be honest, we killed it. We did really, really good, and the applause felt amazing. The energy felt amazing. It felt really encouraging, and it felt nice to have people, clapping for the guy that everybody was calling a loser. You know, it felt really good to be behind the microphone and look at this crowd and know that even for this moment, you know, I'm not the king, but I certainly feel like it, and it was really awesome. And that ability to perform and get up on stage and just burn off the energy and just let go of what was deep inside of me, it felt therapeutic. Far greater than any counseling session I ever did with any of the handful of counselors that I had at the time. It just felt really good being up on the stage and just doing what I had to do and just belting it out and just letting my emotions come out and just get tossed out to the audience. Whether they were taking it or not, I really didn't care. It was just good for me to be up there and to do that. And it felt so good that I knew that I wanted to continue to do that. So that band was kind of like, it was the 90s, so it was all like grungy, you know, kind of poppy. We were taking on more of a popular tone, but I ended up getting hooked up with being the frontman for a nu metal band. So this was loud, this was angry, this was like just in your face. We did covers, we did originals, but it was amazing. It was so good because that's where I really my healing process really started to happen. I was able to, even in rehearsal, just let go of everything that I had that was sitting there and just waiting to come out. It was just like, blah, just gone. And like through the sweat and through the yelling and the screaming and the jumping around the space, whether it was rehearsal or it was on the stage, you know, by the end of it, I felt reborn. And I know that might seem a little silly, but it's the truth. I felt amazing. I didn't want it to stop. I was able to just really get it out, and that's where my healing, and I found my therapeutic milieu. It was through music, it was through performing, and it felt amazing, and I just was like, this is what I need to be doing right now. And I got to continue that with another band, Uneven Ground. Again, we were loud, it was metal, it was like crossover hardcore. It was just nuts. We recorded, we performed, numerous different venues, lots of drop-in centers. So like that's how I got hooked up with learning about the kind of like youth aspect of the work that could be done out in the community. But I mean, I was still a musician, but I got the chance to sit down and talk and hear from these kids that are going through the same kind of lived experience that I had, or something that was even 10 times worse. And I'm just like, whoa, like, how can I do more? That was a future Nathan problem. In the moment, I was living my life and enjoying the fact that I was able to heal through music. I was able to heal through expressing myself, screaming into a microphone. I know a lot of folks are just like, well, metal and hardcore and punk, like that's all loud and it's all angry. But if you really take a moment to listen to most of the lyrics, there's some really positive stuff going on there. And if you question that, message me and I will give you a full list and some homework for you to search up different bands that sound mad as hell, but are actually like giving up the best message I could ever listen to. You know, stuff that I'm like, my kids need to hear this music because this is substantial and this is positive and it's reinforcing, and that's what we were trying to do. It was amazing. Now, I was healing through that on my own. That was how I found a way to kind of better my life. 1 second. That was my strategy, was being able to write and to perform and, you know, to record and tour and all of that. It was amazing. And I never felt better my entire life. I subsequently ended up having to leave the band, so I kind of found myself back to square one. I won't go into the details of why I left the band, but I will say this: I felt a little empty inside, so I was back to this spot in my life where I'm like, well, what do I do now? Who am I? And I would figure that out later on in my 20s. But for me, for all the hurt that I had, music was my medicine. Music, it wasn't a coping mechanism. Music was my therapy. Listening to it, like I said, writing, arranging music, all of it, like just like all of that together, that's what got me through, and that's what helped me heal through a lot of what was going on in my life. Now, I'm not going to say that you need to pick up a guitar or learn how to play the drums or jump on, I don't know, The Voice or whatever. But if you can find and actively look for something that you find therapeutic, look for something that you know is a healthy therapy point, and then run with it. Absolutely run with it, because like I said before, it might take days, weeks, months, years. It may feel like it takes your entire life, but you will come to a point where you're able to find healing, and you're able to find that moment where you can move forward and to the next step of your life. And once you hit that, it feels amazing. It feels absolutely incredible. So for me, like I said, music, that was my thing. I didn't want to, spend my whole life wrapped up in the BS of my own negative self-talk, or the BS of somebody else's experience, or them, projecting it onto me. I knew that I knew that I had these steps. I had these measures put in place so that I could just continue to be the best version of myself. And it was also in my 20s and in my 30s especially that I really kind of focused in on PMA again, because I looked at it deeper and I'm like, this works. This is actually, this makes sense to me. This is something that I can totally get behind. It's, again, you're not looking at everything through rose-colored glasses. You're not looking at everything, with a super optimistic, ultra 24/7 happy vibe, but you're also not letting any negative aspects of your life or anything that's surrounding your life, take control of you. You're bigger than the problem that you may be facing. And because you're bigger than the problem, that means that you can overtake that, and that problem can't actually control you. That issue, that roadblock or barrier that's keeping you from moving forward, doesn't actually have the power that you may think it has. And PMA is a big part of that. Having that positive mental attitude helps us see past that and see like your goal and how you need to get there, and creating the milestones to achieve that goal, to find more happiness in your life and find more positivity in your life. For repeat, because this is the one that kind of throws people off. Getting hurt, that makes sense. Healing, that makes sense too. But Nathan, why would you talk about wanting to repeat any of it? I'm not saying that you're going to go out of your way to, go and like make the same mistakes. Because like I said, I have screwed up in my life. I've screwed up many, many, many times in my life, to the point where I could probably write a book just on how I've screwed up in my life. You don't want to go back and make the same mistakes over and over and over again. Or at least I know I don't want to. And I'm assuming that all of you individuals who would be watching this either live or watching it after it's been recorded, thinking to yourselves, yeah, you know what? I really don't want to make the same mistakes. I want to kind of just forget about that, do something else. When I'm talking about repeat, I'm saying that, even though I follow a PMA mindset, I'm also a realist. And I know that life throws curveballs. Life throws so much crap your way sometimes that you just don't know how to deal with it. And the thing is, if you've gone through the hurt and you figured out how to heal from it and how to move forward, the repeat process, this is where you're recognizing what happened, what you did to move past it or to fix the situation, so that if it does happen again, you're better prepared for it. Again, you're not. This is not a situation of, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna let life continue to throw garbage my way. No. This is where you actively work in your life to be better prepared for it. You know that something negative may be coming your way, but when you're prepared for it, you don't allow that negativity to have the same level of control. And this could be, again, this could be just something like, throwing some ideas out there, the stress of starting up a new business, becoming a new parent, because that could be scary as hell, or just being a parent but with so much going on around you and your kids that maybe you're just trying to navigate through what's going on. There's also, maybe getting out of an abusive relationship, searching for your dream job just because the job you have, maybe your boss sucks, maybe your job is just sucking your will to live right out of you. maybe it's just moving past something that was embarrassing at school. Like whatever it is, recognizing what that problem was, what that pain or that hurt was, and then again, seeing that, you're bigger than it, and then just being better prepared for it to happen again. When it came to being bullied, I knew that there was going to be a point where, like, in my life, there's always going to be people that are just kind of like grumpy or just negative, and they live for the moments to put down others. Even as adults, I've seen this, and it's really, as adults, it's really embarrassing, but it still happens. So for me, I knew that, there may be people that try to bully me. There may be people that may try to talk down to me or just talk garbage about who I am. I can't change their focus. I might have the opportunity to change their mind just by talking to them and maybe kind of squashing some of the rumors that maybe they've heard and they continue to spread or whatever. But I've moved past it. I realized that everything that happened in my life as a kid, as a teen, as a young adult, it happened for a reason, and it happened because it actually helped to make me stronger. Emotionally, it helped me to be stronger. Spiritually, it helped me to be stronger, just overall. And it was the fuel that when I'm feeling really down, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Today might suck, but it's nowhere near as bad as what it was like 15 years ago. So snap out of it. Repeat. This is a process, like I said, where it's just being better prepared. The whole Hurt, Heal, Repeat message is based on perseverance and resiliency. And those are two things that I know each and every one of us has deep inside of us. For some, it comes out naturally. For others, you got to dig a little deeper, but it's there. Believe me, it's there. So like anybody, kids, teens, adults, we're all very capable of being able to persevere through whatever life has to throw at us and being better prepared so that it can't control us in the same way ever again. So that's kind of what I do. That is a short breakdown of what I would present to a school. That's not my actual presentation. I want to make this very clear. I go in, when I'm presenting, I like to have lots of stories available because I just enjoy telling stories. It's genetic. Apparently, I picked this up from my dad. So thanks. I don't mind. But this, I've had so many people that have come to me, they've emailed me, they've kind of asked me in person, they'd be like, what is Hurt, Heal, Repeat? So this was just a quick breakdown of that message. If you're ever interested in seeing me do the actual presentation, message me and I'll see what I can do. But yeah, that's why it's all focused around a positive mental attitude and just that PMA mindset. And beyond that, just knowing that, whatever you're dealing with, things will get better, and just identify what you can do so it doesn't hurt you in the same way again. There's always going to be negativity. There's always going to be things that are going on in your life that may just get you down. But just know that we're all in this together. We're all a big support system. That's why I created Coffee Talk with Nate. It wasn't just so I could hop online and be a talking head. This is a support group. This is a place where parents and youth workers can all come together and just, bounce ideas off of each other. If you have a concern, bring it to the group. If I'm not going to answer it, or if I can't answer it, I'm fairly certain there'd be somebody else that could. So, it's all good. I'm gonna sign off fairly soon. I am not even sure how long it's been going on. Yeah, about half an hour. That's what I was kind of aiming for. So I want to thank everybody who came out to watch this. Everybody who took the moment to log in. You're all wonderful people. Thank you so much. And just so you know, next month will be, when I say we, I will be talking about effective stress management techniques. So my homework is that I'm going to be digging around, finding some further stress management techniques that maybe I didn't already know about, And then I want to bring all that information to the table and then present it to you, because that was the overwhelming response. People wanted to know about how to manage their stress in their life. So I got a job to do. I'm going to do that for you folks. So in April, that will be the live chat. I really hope that you come out, check it out. And as always, continue to spread the word. Share amongst your friends, your family, what Coffee Talk with Nate is all about. Hopefully you're all saying good things. Love you anyways. And I will talk to you folks later. Many blessings and blessed be.